The Radical Art of Pivoting: How Black Women Are Rewriting the Rules of Success. Good evening, everyone. I'm truly honored to be here today to share some revolutionary insights from my recent interview with Jennifer Gonzales, a visionary leader whose work has fundamentally transformed how we understand professional resilience and transformation. Jennifer isn't just documenting the journeys of Black women in America. She's actively dismantling the systems that have historically limited their potential. Her groundbreaking research has illuminated pathways that challenge conventional wisdom and inspire collective action in communities that have been systematically marginalized for generations. What struck me most deeply during our conversation was a perspective that doesn't just shift how we think about career changes, it completely revolutionizes it. For Black women professionals and entrepreneurs, the act of pivoting is not just about survival, it's a radical, defiant act of reimagining what success looks like in the face of systems designed to exclude them. Let that sink in for a moment. The dominant narrative has always framed Black women's resilience as simply enduring hardship, as if the ability to withstand pain is their most noteworthy quality. This narrative is not just incomplete, it's harmful. Jennifer Gonzalez helped me see that the real story, the powerful, untold narrative, is about how Black women use adversity as rocket fuel to create new opportunities, build networks, and redefine their own value, not in isolation, but collectively and intentionally. This perspective aligns perfectly with what we explore on the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we recognize that for high achieving Black women who have spent years in survival mode, there comes a time to shift from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, peace, softness, and self prioritization. During my conversation with Jennifer, three powerful insights emerged that I believe can transform how we all approach professional challenges and personal growth. First, pivoting is power. For Black women, pivoting in the face of adversity is not a sign of instability or failure. It's a powerful strategy for growth and transformation. The data supports this. Those who strategically switch roles experience an average 7% pay increase compared to those who remain in stagnant positions. Embracing change can lead to greater financial, personal, and professional fulfillment. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about reclaiming agency in spaces where Black women have been told to be grateful just for having a seat at the table. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most powerful move isn't climbing higher on a broken ladder, it's building your own structure entirely. Second, you are not alone in the journey. The challenges faced by Black women in corporate America and entrepreneurship, such as layoffs, lack of VC funding, and health disparities, are systemic, not individual failings. There is strength in healing and collective action and community building. This truth challenges the American myth of individualism that has kept marginalized communities fragmented and competing for scraps. When Black women come together, they don't just support each other, they create ecosystems of opportunity that transform industries. And third, your trauma can be your catalyst. Instead of letting trauma or setbacks break you, use them as motivation to fuel your next move. Many Black women have turned moments of crisis into opportunities to launch businesses, advocate for change, and rewrite the rules of success. This isn't about toxic positivity or finding the silver lining. It's about alchemizing pain into purpose, a skill Black women have refined across generations out of necessity, but one that now positions them as leaders in innovation and resilience. These insights challenge the traditional narrative that equates success with stability and individual achievement. They invite us to see disruption as opportunity and community as essential to transformation. Let me share some powerful examples that Jennifer highlighted during our conversation. Julie Griffith, founder of the Champagne and Melanin Prepare and Pivot series, created a platform for Black women to discuss and navigate career pivots together after witnessing massive layoffs affecting over 350,000 Black women in early 2025. These women faced uncertainty, isolation, and the pressure to quickly adapt in an inequitable job market. But rather than accepting this reality, Griffith did something revolutionary. She established support networks and hosted conversations that encouraged energetic shifts and collective problem solving. The results weren't just remarkable, they were transformative. Participants reported feeling less alone, more empowered to make bold moves, and better equipped to identify new opportunities. One woman who had been laid off from her corporate job after 15 years found the courage to launch her consulting business, something she had dreamed of for years but never thought possible. Within 6 months, she was earning double her previous salary and mentoring other women through similar transitions. Griffith's passion for Black women's success grew out of her own experiences with workplace bias and the need for safe space to discuss unique challenges. The series has become a model for peer led professional development and mutual support, inspiring similar initiatives nationwide and helping Black women collectively reimagine their career paths while supporting each other through transitions. This example perfectly illustrates what we mean when we talk about dropping the Superwoman cape, a core theme of the soft girl era. These women found strength not in solitary struggle, but in vulnerability and connection. Another powerful story Jennifer shared was about Dr. Ronika Briscoe and the unicorn effect movement. Dr. Briscoe, an educator and CEO, coined the unicorn effect to describe the unique pressures on Black women to overperform in the workplace. She convened a diverse group of Black women leaders to launch a movement and an anthology reflecting on these experiences. Black women face mass layoffs, burnout, and the expectation to meet unattainable professional standards while navigating systemic racism and gender bias. Dr. Briscoe's movement fostered reflection, storytelling, and intentional community building, culminating in the 2025 ethnographic anthology, In Relentless Pursuit of Me. The anthology featured stories like Tasha's, a senior executive who had been passed over for promotion 3 times despite consistently outperforming her peers. When she finally decided to leave and start her own firm, she discovered a network of other Black women executives with similar experiences. Together, they created a consulting collective that now advises Fortune 500 companies on authentic inclusion practices, transforming their pain into a powerful force for systemic change. The project gave voice to shared struggles, built solidarity, and encouraged purposeful career pivots. Dr. Briscoe's own career journey and observations of widespread burnout inspired her to gather voices from different backgrounds to strengthen collective impact. The anthology and movement have increased awareness of the unique challenges Black women face and provided practical frameworks for resilience. This initiative speaks directly to the healing in real time that we value so deeply. It shows that when we create space to acknowledge our wounds, we also create the possibility for collective healing and transformation. Jennifer also highlighted the advocacy work of Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who in 2025 publicly demanded action from the Federal Reserve to address the spike in Black women's unemployment, which reached 6.7% compared to the national average of 4.3%. Black women were disproportionately impacted by federal workforce layoffs, compounded by attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Presley called for data transparency, policy changes, and a recommitment to maximum employment mandates for Black women. Her advocacy brought national attention to the economic contributions of Black women and the urgent need for systemic solutions. Presley's ongoing work builds on a legacy of Black women's economic leadership from Sadie Alexander to Coretta Scott King, raising public and legislative awareness of inequities, and putting pressure on institutions to address racial and gender disparities in employment. This case demonstrates the intersection of advocacy, policy, and the economic realities faced by Black women. It reminds us that protecting peace as a practice sometimes means fighting for systemic change that creates space for that peace to exist. What these examples share is a profound truth. Black women are not just surviving in hostile environments, they're transforming them. They're not just enduring hardship, they're creating new possibilities from it. And they're not doing it alone. They're building communities of support and solidarity that amplify individual efforts into collective power. This is what Jennifer Gonzalez helped me understand. Pivoting isn't just a career strategy, it's a revolutionary act of self definition and community building. For the high achieving Black women listening today, especially those between 38 and 55 who have led teams, raised families, held down households, and carried communities, I want you to hear this message clearly. Your ability to pivot, to transform, to reimagine success in the face of obstacles isn't just a survival skill, it's a superpower. And it's time to use that superpower not just to endure, but to thrive, not just to survive, but to create, not just to adapt to systems that weren't built for you, but to build new systems that reflect your worth and wisdom. As we embrace what I call the soft girl era, this sacred pause that isn't a trend but a lifestyle rebellion, we recognize that softness isn't weakness. It's a radical act of self love. It's the quiet but powerful return to rest, self trust, and radical joy that gives us the energy and clarity to pivot with purpose. So here's my challenge to you today: identify one area in your life where you've been enduring rather than transforming. Where have you been adapting to a broken system instead of creating something new? What would it look like to pivot not just your position, but your entire perspective on what's possible? And most importantly, who can you bring with you on this journey? Because the most revolutionary aspect of the Black woman's pivot is that it's never just about individual advancement. It's about creating pathways for others, building communities of support, and transforming systems from the inside out. When we pivot together, we don't just move, we move mountains. When we pivot together, we don't just change careers, we change cultures. When we pivot together, we don't just find new jobs, we forge new realities. Your pivot is not just a personal strategy, it's a political act. It's a declaration that you will no longer contort yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for your full expression. It's an affirmation that you deserve not just a seat at the table, but the power to build entirely new tables. So pivot boldly, pivot collectively, pivot with the knowledge that your transformation is not just changing your life, it's rewriting the rules of success for generations to come. Thank you.